everybody. How's it going? Welcome to Gamer Grudge and welcome to Game Sandwich. We are going to be talking about the Borderlands 4 story today. We finished the campaign, and let me tell you, story, it was not the greatest. If you were looking for anything in terms of like depth or like anything of real value, you shouldn't be turning to Borderlands 4 unless you're only focused on the gameplay. But before we get into that, Andrew, why don't you say what's up?
I would like to take a moment of silence for my fellow AI, Kevin Logistics Operations. It was just so bad that he had a malfunction. So hopefully his repairs will bring him back soon.
Rest in pepperonis. We'll see you when we see you. But let's go ahead and roll the intro. Alright, as I was saying, we finished the Borderlands 4 game. We did it all on stream if you guys want to check that out. And if you're interested in more content from us, feel free to like the video and subscribe. Watch to the end. Really helps us out. But today we're going to be talking about the Borderlands 4 story. It was, in my opinion, mid. There were some high points, there were some low points. More low points than there were high points. But just to start things off right from the beginning, let's just like hit it hard with the introduction. The introduction to the Timekeeper is, in my opinion, a very strong introduction in terms of story. Like in any of the Borderlands games, like it's just like you march in, you sit down, implants that bolt, it makes you feel tense. It's good, but then it just quickly just falls apart after RJ like shows up. Like Andrew, what'd you feel about that? Like there's that opening cutscene, right, leading up to RJ.
Well, the intro video is pretty cool. And then it ends, and then you have some dude just talk to you. And then for like 2 seconds you're controlled, and then some annoying loser shows up. It was so cool.
Okay, I very unimpressed as you people can probably tell, but but yeah, but anyway, so like you go through this, and you reach the end, and then finally you just get like this tease of like, oh, like RJ's might be dead, and then like, oh, well, what if I come back as an antagonist? And newsflash, spoiler alert, he comes back as an antagonist. So let's just break down RJ's character first here. Like
What character?
we get to the end. Yeah, exactly. Like we get to the end. He establishes that, oh hey, he's a vault hunter. He gives you Echo 4 and is like, here you go. This will protect you. And okay, cool. So we understand why we can't be controlled by the Timekeeper, except for we could have been controlled by the Timekeeper the whole time leading up to it, and he could have just ended the game literally within the first like 20 minutes of it at any point, but he chose not to. But anyway, that aside, whatever, maybe I can forgive it, but we get introduced to the idea that RJ could come back as a villain, and I have to say, Andrew, like right from that beginning, when he's like, "Oh, I might be back as a villain," blah blah blah, and then he kills himself, I didn't care. I didn't care about seeing his character ever again.
I didn't care.
Yeah, it.
I mean, he was just some random dude who just showed up. Was like, I'm gonna rescue you. And then as soon as you exit the prison, he's like, hey, I just gave you this grappling hook. Follow me. And then doesn't even tell you, just grapple hook somewhere else and you're by yourself. And then he shows up again. He's like, here's my robot.
Yeah. And then, so like later in the story, you're going through this whole like phase thing and blah blah blah, and then like you find out that he was experimented on and infused with like phase abilities, so he can like enter and exit the phase
Once again, no
dimension.
sirens.
So essentially, they turned him into Lilith, but
Lord Jesus.
without the fancy wings, you know. And again, this was the main part of the game that I just lost all interest in. And the reason why is because, one, I feel like they're doing anything and everything they can to make a male siren, even though they've established the rule that they cannot have a male siren. And so instead, they're just like, oh, he's not technically a siren, but we're going to make anything and everything that we can that could constitute a male siren. Like Troy had to have siren-like abilities because he was born as a conjoined twin, and RJ has to have siren-like abilities because he was experimented on and infused with phase energy. I don't know what the hell they're going to do next when it comes to making a male siren, but I can guarantee you in the next game there's going to be another character that's a male siren, even though they've said sirens are only female. And even before you started playing, Andrew, I said that there was a specific part of the story that I felt like you were going to absolutely hate, and that was the part that I meant. So I hope that I was correct in like that's the most hated part of the story for you.
Another reason why he was just so terrible is there was no build up. Nothing. He just randomly showed up as a villain.
Yeah, I mean,
It was it's like they're like, "Man, we didn't try to make a male siren this time. What can we do?" Hey, remember that character that nobody remembered? Clearly not, because no one remembers him. That guy from the beginning. What's his name again? I don't remember, because he's so unimportant. Let's just make him a male siren and have him come back. Yeah,
yeah.
as a last minute addition for a villain.
No, I mean, granted, you could have more, at least a little bit more information on him. Just leading up to this section, you could have a slight bit more if you actually go out of your way to like read, like not read, but find all the Vault Hunter guide echo log things. So if you were to find all of those, you'd get more information on RJ in general. But that is all just like, oh, I met this robot. I founded the Crimson Resistance. Oh, we need to collect Vault Hunters. Yada yada yada. It's not really more about him. It's more about, oh, this is how you survive on Kairos and everything. So it doesn't really offer more insight into his character. So really, he's just very one dimensional. He is just like, oh hey, I appear, I am doing one thing, and that is all I'm meant for. And leading all the way up to his death, and sorry, spoiler alert again, even though this is all going to be spoilers. Leading up to his death at the very end of the game, it's like he literally accomplishes nothing other than saying, "Oh, you shouldn't save Lilith." That's his whole shtick.
And the whole story as a whole is just uninteresting and boring, and he's just a big part of nothing.
He is.
Like he's literally doesn't explain why, doesn't do anything. He just shows up, tries to be a badass like Zero, and then he gets shit revealed, and then he's just like, "Oh, you don't do this." Well, why? Just don't do it. Can you talk to me? Just don't do it. Do you remember who I am? Just don't do it.
Do you
Why
remember
are
what
you
you
here?
went through in
Just
the
don't
beginning?
do it.
Do you remember how you saved me and how you said we were friends? No.
It's just
Yeah.
so boring.
It genuinely, like, he was the biggest letdown of all the characters, but I will
What
so
characters?
okay, yeah. But so another big issue that like we in general have, and I don't know, Andrew probably has more of an issue with it than I do. But so I'm going to go ahead and compare to Borderlands 2 here. Just a little bit when it comes to the main villain at least. So, Timekeeper. Timekeeper, you are introduced to him at the very beginning. He is sprinkled a tiny bit throughout. And then you really have like this big hit of him at the end. But by the time you reach the ending and you get that big hit of him, and he's like supposed to be, ooh, all looming and evil and everything, he ultimately falls short. And the main reason why he fell short, to me at least, here is, now I'm going to compare him, yes, to like what Handsome Jack, like, oh, everyone always compares every villain in Borderlands 2. In that, and I only do it because like in Borderlands 2, you constantly hear from Jack. You were constantly hearing from him. You were constantly seeing what he has done. You are constantly hearing about what he has done. And now, in the same realm, you are kind of doing the same thing with the Timekeeper. You were supposed to build him up to the end. And now, none of what people tell you in the game really hits and says, like, oh yeah, he's evil, other than what Zadra is telling you. And Zadra, throughout the whole thing, she's just like, she kind of speaks highly of the Timekeeper, while at the same time saying, oh, he's a tyrant and everything. And so you hear, like, what is essentially, like, mixed information from her throughout the story. And then you also have this, like, this, you're told, at least, oh, he can control anybody at any time. Oh, okay. You see it with Callus. You're going through her area and you see him just kill off a little group of NPCs at one time. And it's like, ooh, that would hit hard if they weren't random NPCs that I know nothing about and that I don't care about. It would be much better if, say, for instance, Rush, the guy you meet and one of the characters that you're like experiencing alongside, like the story alongside while you're fighting Idolater Soul, if he just like got, like, there's a moment, and Andrew here, like, tell me, what would you think in that moment where Rush says, oh, I can't do anything, I'm gonna sacrifice myself, yada yada yada, like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself in this bomb. If in that moment the Timekeeper said, okay, yeah, you are going to sacrifice yourself, and did something that prevented him from being able to get emergency teleported out of there, and like took control of him and forced him to explode in a fiery ball of death, that would have hit harder, wouldn't it?
I felt it would have made the story so much better if he just made Rush be like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself. And he's like, yeah, you're gonna sacrifice yourself, but you're not gonna save anybody. And just make him kill himself or shoot himself and
Yeah,
not save anyone.
exactly. Something like that would have hit so much harder. Or even, hey, he did what he did, he gets emergency teleported, and then he gets taken control of as soon as he gets teleported, and is like, soon as he comes to, he gets taken control of, and then he starts shooting his own allies. Again, would have hit harder. And then you get to the end with the Timekeeper, and after going through this whole thing where he never kills any of your allies, he only ever kills random NPCs and like random shows of strength that don't really amount to anything. Finally, he just shows, hey, I could have controlled all of these people all along, and he takes control of Rush and like Calder and everything. He takes control of all of them all at one time, and all I'm sitting there wondering is, why the hell didn't he do this earlier and just like start killing off our allies as we made them, making us feel isolated, making us feel alone? That would have made him way more compelling. I don't know. What's your thoughts here on everything with the Timekeeper?
He's a nobody. Honestly, at this point, he could have just been a narrator.
So what you're saying is he
Like,
could have just been another Marcus.
I mean, that's basically what he was, anyways.
Yeah, I mean,
Just telling the story about like how I've been here forever.
yeah,
I controlled this thing. This is my land. I protected it. I'm all powerful. I'm a voice that just talks and does nothing and says nothing. Ah, I'm such a great character. Ah,
yeah,
this is such a premium game. Ah,
and
there's no bugs.
one of
Ah,
the, one of the things too that I will point out about Handsome Jack, and even about Troy and Tyrene, like I will say this is a one up on the Timekeeper for Troy and Tyrene even too, where they
I have no
periodically and
personality. Ah,
strategically put roadblocks in front of you to prevent you from being able to do things. It never feels like the Timekeeper ever puts a roadblock in front of you, except for in the beginning when he has a ship attack the launch pad. That is the only time he ever actually feels like, oh, there's like a roadblock. But you easily overcome the
I will.
roadblock because he doesn't kill anybody. You just make it there and board his ship and destroy it. There's never anything that comes of it.
I'm just gonna try to say this as a positive because I hate the whole entire story. I think it's so boring. I think all the characters are lame and boring. And I hate Borderlands 3. But I will give a perk to them. And like reason why Jack was so good, and like they weren't good, but at least those two villains from 3, they actually had a personality and quirks that made them characters. Timekeeper was just there, nothing, no personality, no quirk, nothing to make him memorable. The only
Yeah.
reason we remember he's the Timekeeper is the game just released not too long ago, and it's fresh in everyone's head.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a year from now, when they have, like, let's say they have two DLCs out a year from now, I feel like no one's going to remember the Timekeeper. They're just going to be like, oh, yeah, he existed. And they're going to focus more on the fact that there's DLC bosses or, like, there's DLC villains or whatever. And, like, they're never going to just be like, oh, yeah, remember the Timekeeper? He was such a good villain. Like, he's never going to be remembered fondly. At least, like you said, with Troy and Tyrene, they had
As
personality.
terrible as they were,
As
as
bad as
bad
they
and
were.
terrible as it was, they at least they had something. I mean, it wasn't good, but at least it was
Yeah.
something.
It was more than just being a literal, like, stick that you're just, like, waiting for it to do something, and it
I
never
mean,
does
a
anything.
terrible, terrible job at like character personality and stuff still better than no attempt at all.
Yeah, exactly. But now I will, like, I don't want everything, like, I don't want everything here to be negative. There are some positive things I have to say about, like, the Borderlands 4 story. Like, in general, like, Andrew might disagree, like, Andrew will disagree here, but Callus I thought was a good villain. I thought that she was, like, I thought that she was compelling. She, when you reach her area, she is like, hey, like, you go through this whole place of, like, this whole foundry area where she's like just ripping bolts out of people's necks and everything on a, like, a conveyor belt. And I'm like, dude, this is great. Like, visually, this is great, and this makes her compelling as a villain. And just like her embracing that, like, that, like, natural mayhem of, like, Borderlands and everything makes her a good villain in my eyes. She's not amazing. I'm not going to be like, oh my god, she's one of the best villains ever. I'm not going to say that. But
I
in the
totally,
context of this game, she was a good villain compared to all the other villains. And she outshined the Timekeeper to me because she actually felt menacing and felt like she was doing something, like, that you had to stop. But and the way that she at least comes back, and, like, okay, you fight her once, she is a roadblock, and then as you're going through Elpis, she appears again and is like, oh my god, I can't believe that, like, my entire truth that I thought was going to be a shining beacon of light for me was a lie, and, like, freaks out and tries to just, like, straight up murder you. That was good. But I think that, it's like, it's seriously underplayed though, and it should have, like, I feel like her character should have been expanded way more upon, and they should have really, really focused on her character and her relationship to the Timekeeper, because, like, they say, oh yeah, she was his best general or whatever, like, she was her, like his most important, like, of the commanders or whatever, but then it's never really delved upon on that. Like, they never really enhance it, and it frustrates me that they didn't.
I totally, I'm gonna say what I was gonna say. I totally forgot about that whole thing because it's unrememberable. But if they want to make her a good character, they shouldn't have given you the option to save your friend. They should have just had you watch them die instead of give you the option to save them. Should have forced them to die. That just lessens the
Yeah.
impact of her character as threatening. Also,
You know,
there was
I
no
do
background
agree
or
with you
build
on
up for
that.
her at all. So less intriguing at all, less to care about her at all. Like, oh, she just showed up and does this thing that may or may not matter because I can just stop it. Who cares?
I
It's
know
just
she shows up
not
whenever
good.
you're maybe you didn't see it because like maybe you were in a different part of the city or whatever, but whenever you reach Carcadia, she is there and she actually like steals the bolt and everything, and like you can watch her like go away and everything. Like you actually get a build up of her character like in the city, you know. Not as much as I would want, obviously, but you do get a little bit of a build up there. I'm just saying, like it's not like oh she appears out of nowhere at all. Like she's not like RJ where she's just like oh hi suddenly I'm here.
It's just overall just terrible. Everything was terribly done. Every character was terribly done. And aside from the villains, I don't know fucking characters. I wouldn't remember Rush if you didn't bring up Rush. Like that caller dude, I don't even remember exactly who it is. I think it's that little short miner dude.
Yeah,
Like
that's who he
it's
is.
just there's no good character. Everyone's just so bland and boring. It's like it was almost written by I almost said AI. My kind AI. Like it was there's no person no it seems like there was no effort or thought into putting any characters
Yeah,
or anything.
yeah. It like the only characters that felt like they really actually cared about were like well obviously like Zane and Amara. Both of them
Even then they didn't
like
put much care into the
Amara
characters.
Amara even fell short. The one that felt like they had the most to them, and this might be because I played all of the side quests as well. You didn't do all the side quests, but if you actually like if you do all the side quests and everything, Levain and Zane feel really good. They are actually good characters. They progress Zane in a really good way, in a meaningful way. They gave him an actual like relationship with Levain, and like I said, when you do all the side quests and everything, you get to know their like you get to know all about their relationship and everything, and it is actually really good. And with doing a lot of the side quests, you learn more about the people in general. But I will say this, from my experience, I know you don't have the experience of doing all the side quests, but from my experience with the side quests, Rush doesn't get that much of a deeper story to him. He like really you just learn, oh, they just want to escape and they're just working on a ship to escape Kairos. Okay, that's fine.
Mara was just
But
written as a Borderlands Jesus fangirl for no
yeah,
reason.
Amara honestly fell short to me because like Andrew just said, all she does is focus on Lilith the entire time. She has no personality other than Lilith is my savior. And
You want to make Borderlands good? Stop making Lil the freaking Borderlands Jesus.
yeah, yeah,
She's literally like the
honestly,
weakest of the sirens, and if it wasn't for plot armor, she still would be the weakest of all the sirens.
yeah.
Stop.
I mean,
Just stop.
Lilith, honestly, you know, Borderlands 3, she needed to be in Borderlands 3 for the sake of what she did to create Borderlands 4. But in Borderlands 4, I feel like, you know, the searching for her makes sense because oh, she's the leader of the Crimson Raiders, yada yada yada. You're gonna search for her. There's no way oh, she disappears and you see this giant firehawk symbol in the sky where you don't go, "Oh, I'm going to look for her." And that be a main focus of the Crimson Raiders. And that's fine to have them looking for her. I don't like that's not a big deal. What bothers me is that they have so much of a focus on her that where she's like, "Oh, okay, you find her, she is alive. There's nothing wrong with her other than she's like maybe a little atrophied. She's just like, oh, she has to rest for like what, a grand total of like 4 missions or something and then she's up and at it." And that's even
You know,
after she like comes out of the phase and immediately saves your life by teleporting you off of Elpis being shot into Kairos. Like, you're telling me she comes out of the phase. She's been in there for 6 years because it's a 6-year leap here. And she is just fine enough that she can just teleport everybody. And I get she collapses afterwards, but like, come on. Like,
When doesn't Lilith collapse after doing anything?
yeah, I mean, well, that too. I mean, she like uses her powers like immensely. Like, she's a one shot, like one trick pony where she's like, boom, I did my thing. Every time. But still, in what world?
Minor.
Like, I feel like really what should have happened is either they find Lilith and she is just dead, and that's fine. And maybe just a remnant of her remains, and that's it. And like the remnant is what you find, and she's just like, boom. Now that you've entered the phase and found her, her spirit just boop, goes away. I feel like
that would be a better, interesting story if they found dead Lilith and then they freed her siren soul from the thing, and then her powers could finally go into a new siren.
Exactly. That's what I was just thinking here.
But also, I know it's a minor thing. I hate that the fact that the front of her hair never grew, but the back of it was like way too long. Like, I know there was like it's like, how did the front of her hair not grow at all? But before we
I mean, it grew, but it just like grew down to her chin. Like, that's it. Versus the rest of it that grows all the way down to her ass.
But before we get while we're on the topic of sirens, you might as well bring up the main subject of what you wanted to do for this video.
I mean, it's not the
Let's
main
talk about
subject.
A siren
but...
that doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's not the main subject, but it is just something that also, as part of the story, bugs me, and it's something that I'm glad didn't come to fruition, but it still bugs me. You might now, Andrew, you're not gonna remember this at all, but in Borderlands 3, Hermes was just a little guy, and he was Ava's pet. Okay, so that immediately, whenever you hear like Hermes or whatever in Borderlands 4, if you remember Hermes from Borderlands 3, you're like, oh, where is Ava? And then it's like, okay, well, there's Amara. Well, that makes sense. Okay, maybe Ava's doing something else, and like she just left Hermes with Amara. There you go. That is all the explanation that is really needed in this. That is it. But so Epic NNG on Twitter, he discovered in, I think it was at least him, it might have been somebody else, he didn't credit anybody else with it, so just saying, but he found source code specifically that says, hey, Ava was supposed to be in place of Amara, but ultimately ended up getting completely replaced by Amara. And the script that they have here, like, there's like files, for instance, that say like, oh, body Elpis, Ava bubble asset, script Elpis, Ava bubble asset, Zane and Ava fixing ship chatter asset, rescue Zane and Ava asset, escorting Ava chatter asset, you know, stuff like that. And it shows that Zane and Ava were intertwined with the story in the same way that Amara was with Zane, and that ultimately she was just replaced entirely. And you know, I'm just gonna say thank you so much for not including Ava. I feel like, I mean, as someone who specifically said that I wish, like, if Ava is in 4, that we would just see her get like shot out of a cannon or something to her doom, like, because I absolutely hated her character, and she was like the worst character that any of you have ever written, Gearbox.
No, Claptrap's the worst.
I take Claptrap over Ava. Like, any day, I will take Claptrap over Ava.
I would take a sentient pile of flaming shit over Claptrap.
Well, okay. But yeah, so I'm grateful that Ava was not in this, but I still feel like because they went so far with Ava, and it's obvious too in some regards, and I didn't think about it at the time, but Amara in the story uses Ava's ability, like that bubble ability or whatever, like uses that ability to like shield people. So like it's obvious that and when you think of it like that yeah, Ava was supposed to be there and using her bubble ability, but they just swapped her with Amara, and Amara now uses an ability that she doesn't technically have
Because
because
sirens are pointless these days. Oh,
so
screw the whole sirens have powers and there's no male siren and all this other stuff. I mean, look at Lilith. Her power is walking,
yeah.
and all of a sudden she can summon massive flames, teleport everybody, different things, and all this other shit. So it's not far to say Amara just has Ava's powers.
Yeah. I mean, it
They don't
really
care
isn't.
anymore.
but
They gave up.
but yeah, so like I'm very much glad that that didn't happen, and at least they had some sense, but at the same time it just also shows that they were willing at one point to just default to what they were doing, but then they obviously saw the backlash of Ava and they were like, "Oh god, we have to fix this."
Wish they did
And
that with Claptrap.
oh, like thank you for at least fixing that. I will say that. And just in general too, um I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else like really about the story that comes to mind that like I really just didn't like, but yeah. It just like it overall, if you only focus on the story just falls flat. There are some high moments, like I think that moments with Callus honestly were high moments. The moments with Vile Lichter I think were interesting too, about him actually performing experiments with iridium and infusing things with like phase energy. I think that in itself is interesting, and seeing the vile creatures that have like crystals attached to them and stuff, because they don't have phase abilities. They just like are now their life is like linked to these crystals. I think that's interesting. And I think that deserves to be further like, experimented on and everything. But I don't think for the sake of the story going forward, like I don't think that the overall design of the game really helped it. So like if they plan on making the next one, if they plan on making it the same way where it's like massive open world, I don't feel like that's going to ultimately help it. And the reason why I don't feel like it'll help it is because I feel like that's where this one fell short. They were so focused on making it open world and making it big and flashy and like have lots of places to go and collectibles to find and everything, that ultimately when it came to the story, they made too many one-dimensional villains or like too many one-dimensional characters that don't really have the depth that is required for an actual story. And I think that makes sense.
I think they just need to pack it up and go home.
Yeah. But Andrew, is
Borderlands
there
peaked and
anything?
died with two.
Okay, so it peaked and died with two, but now is there anything else that you want to touch on exactly with the Borderlands 4 story before we call it?
Uh, Honestly, it was just so unrememberable. I can't. Less Lilith, less Borderlands Jesus. I don't know. Like it was just. I know it sounds negative, but it was literally just so unrememberable. I can't think of anything to talk about. It was just so uninteresting and so boring. I
Hey,
don't know.
I mean, that's how it goes, and we're not the only ones who feel this way. I mean, there's a lot of people that I've seen like post in like Reddit, like subreddits and everything, who have said like, "Oh yeah, they weren't interested in the story." We played the entirety of the thing on stream, and with Kevin and
I
with Maniac, and both of them even shared the same sentiment, where they were like, "What is wrong with some of these characters? Like, oh, this just didn't hit," and
I
yeah,
was literally so disinterested and just trugging along that I forgot the whole main point of this was to get to the vault. Like I
yeah,
was just
the
aside from the
main thing that
millions and
Borderlands is always
millions of
about.
bugs, the lackluster story, the nobody characters is just I don't know. I just going through the motions.
I get you. Well, you know what? Speaking of going through the motions, if you guys would like to go through the motions of hitting that subscribe button and liking the video, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to, you can always join our Discord where we are always chatting about games. But let us know what you thought about the Borderlands 4 story down below in the comments. We're not talking about gameplay here. Gameplay, thought was pretty good in general. But just story, let us know what you thought about it. Did the villains hit for you? Did all the characters, like, did they all hit home for you? If not, what's your main gripes with it? Let us know. But I've been in with Game Sandwich and Gamer Grudge. I've been joined by Andrew Interactive. We'll see you guys next time.
All hail Borderlands Jesus.